This is the NooElec Hammered Up board version 1.3 and the extra external case you can get with it. And I thought I would show how to assemble the board into the case because it's a little bit tricky and a little bit weird. All right, here we go. So what you get with the enclosure is this enclosure here, the two ends, rubber feet, and you'll notice when you get the bag of screws, there's two brass standoffs here with a nut on one side, and then you'll see there's 8 small screws here, and then there's 2 even smaller screws right here. And so make note of those because you'll use those here and here on the board, or on the enclosure. Okay, so enclosure, this is the version 1.3. It's got a full-size USB-A plug on one side, toggle switch, and 2 connectors. These 2 connectors, you'll notice there's a washer and a nut, and you'll want to take those off first. There we go. You'll notice the enclosure has a slightly raised edge on this side and is flat on this side. The raised edge will go board in like this. You'll notice also that pass-through, upconvert, and IF output is here, and then RF input is here, and USB is here. So you want to put the board in like this, not like this, right? Otherwise it'll be backwards. So first things first, there's not too much special to do. The one thing you want to make sure of is you want to put the standoffs in first. So I flip the board over like this, and then the board over like this. And you'll see there's a lineup here of this hole here and here, and this hole here and here. So it's a little bit weird because you could accidentally put the standoff in the wrong place. Also, you'll notice that the standoff goes on this side of the board to raise the board up off a little bit. So what we're going to do here is put the first one in and make sure, yep, I got that right. I check, usually the USB port's the easiest place to check. So there's the hole here and the hole here. And so first one goes in. These are a little bit tricky because they're small. So if you have big fingers, it's going to be a little bit tight. But not too bad, right? I just do those hand tight. You could do them a little bit more tight if you want to, but I don't see why you would need to. This one is the trickiest one. I did this wrong the first time. I put it in here on accident, but it should be right here. Again, you want the standoff side on this side here, and then the nut goes here. The reason why you want the standoff side here is you'll notice the standoff is threaded, and so you'll be putting your screw, once you've got it in the case, you'll be putting the screw in on this side and this side. All right, so you've got the standoffs ready. Next thing is remembering which of these goes where and in which direction. The easiest way to know is like, oh, here's where the 3 LEDs go, right? And then also flat side goes, it only goes one way, so it's pretty easy, but flat side goes on the bottom side of the board. So there's a couple things you can do here. One thing you can do right now to make it a little bit easier on your life is to put this washer and nut on. Don't crank it all the way down because you want a little bit of play in the board for now, just so you can line up the screw holes here. Okay, let's see if I get this right the first time. So this goes in like this. You'll notice there's no slot or anything. It just goes straight in. And it's going to be a little bit like floppy inside, but it will get stable when you start to put the screws in. So again, 8 sort of slightly longer screws, 2 slightly shorter screws. Those screws we'll use a little bit later. This is my screwdriver. It's slightly too small. No, this is my screwdriver. It's slightly too small, but it is a Phillips head and it works fine. you probably want a little bit bigger one that you might get at a Radio Shack or Adafruit or someone to get a slightly larger set of small screwdrivers. This is used, this is like a screwdriver most people use to like repair their MacBook or something, which is why I got it, which is extra tiny, but it's what I had. So getting them at first lined up is going to be a little bit of a pain, but we'll get there. This thing is being cantankerous. There we go. So what I tend to do is not screw them all the way in, so I can get, that's actually a little bit crooked. So again, what I typically do is I don't screw this one in all the way tight because I want to make sure and get the other ones in a little bit as well, so everything is lined up before screwing it all the way down. So you'll notice I'm backing them out a little bit just so the alignment gets a little bit better. So I've got an alignment issue already. So see how the USB port's not lining up right? It's because the board is crooked in there. So I need to fix that. I'm gonna slightly loosen everything up. There we go. It's much better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these a little bit loose, not cranked all the way down, just so everything is kosher. I'll put this in, I'll put this plate in, and then I'll tighten this one down. Okay, so this one can only really go one way, as you can see. Again, what you're going to see now is standoff here and standoff here. Now line up with these holes. The USB port's looking good. All right, now you'll see we've got these two left and these two small screws. Easy. And these two small screws. Now I'm going to tighten up this a little bit. And now put this one on. And that's it. And now you can see you've got Upconvert pass-through, toggle switch, pass-through, Upconvert, your output, input, LEDs, USB port. Go ahead and put the rubber feet on. That's that. There we go.